Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Sharif Ishak, 15 minutes from right now. Is there a quarterback competition for the New Orleans Saints, or are those reins being passed immediately to Tyler Shook from Derek Carr? We'll ask Sharif about that, as well as a little bit of OTA talk, or minicamp talk with him. Coming up in 15 minutes, Glenn West in his normal Tuesday spot at 1:30, talking Tigers. We got a kickoff time for LSU and Clemson. We will discuss that. Buzzy Heidel, former Tiger, national champion, member of the LSU Sports Radio Network, will jump aboard an hour and 15 minutes from now to talk a little LSU baseball, as well as we're really heavy on LSU baseball this time of year, as you would generally expect. And that's where we're going to start. We're going to do a little bit of resume talk right here, and we'll start the same way we do every single day. That's our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
All right, let's talk some resume, and like, I'll be pretty honest about this process here. I dove deep this morning. Like, I was really grinding some numbers. I was looking at series matchups from February and March. Like, I'm digging, and I'm digging for one thing. We're all pretty comfortable here with the fact that LSU is knocking on the door of a national seed. That's not news to you. If you're following this team at all, you already know that. And you all know that if LSU goes to Columbia, South Carolina, and does what Auburn just did to South Carolina, we don't have much of a discussion. You're going to pack your bags for Hoover with nothing to do in the state of Alabama. The question becomes, when do we start having a discussion? Who could take national seat away from LSU? That's the discussion. And honestly, that's what it's going to have to take, because as I look at the current metrics, it's going to take some wonky results, some stuff that would be a surprise, to shuffle this deck away from the SEC and away from LSU. And I came to that conclusion this morning. I sent a tweet out that said, look, weird stuff can happen, and I reserve the right to change my mind over the next 12 days, because you go out and lose 4 straight, you lose 3 in a row, somebody wins 7 straight, including their last series and their conference tournament. Like, yes, math does change this time of year over the course of 12 days. But if everything kind of holds, where you got a bunch of 2 out of 3s this weekend in the final regular season weekend, and nothing absurd happens in a conference tournament, the SEC is in such a strong position in terms of the metrics. I just have a hard time coming up with a way that it gets wrestled away. And that was that's the conclusion I came to this morning, going over it myself. And then I listened to the Nerdcast, which is Mark Etheridge of D1 Baseball, Kendall Rogers, and Aaron Fitt. And they've got a podcast that they live stream, and it is essentially what they do is they come up with their field of 64 for the projections that you read a lot. You just get to see how the sausage is made. You get to hear the entire thing. And they did the exact same thing I did. And when they finished their projections, there were 6 SEC national seeds at the top 8, and LSU was number 2. And for about 5 minutes of the discussion, they thought about putting LSU as the number 1 overall seed. Of course, LSU is ranked number 1, but instead they just said, no, we're overthinking this. Texas has beaten LSU 2 out of 3 and swept Georgia, and has swept Vanderbilt, and is got 20 wins in the league and of top 5 RPI, and they put Texas up top. Now, if Texas screws around in Norman this weekend, different discussion. But LSU, for the folks at D1 Baseball, is the number 2 national seed right now. And so, as I just said at the top, like, if things hold and LSU goes and wins 2 out of 3 against South Carolina, and then goes to Hoover and maybe loses on Friday. Like, that's not, to me, enough to upset this apple cart with 19 league wins and kick them out of the top 8. I just don't think it is. Because you have to look at some of the things that have happened since I last had this discussion with you last Wednesday. And when we did that, I gave you 13 teams I thought had a chance to be top 8 national seeds. And since we had that discussion, Clemson has gone out and lost 2 out of 3 to Duke. Their RPI, they were in that discussion. I said they could come up and get a national seed. Their RPI is down to 14. They are 6-10 in quadrant 1, and even more crippling to their resume, right now Clemson's 7th in the ACC. That's not a national seed. I'm sorry. This is not. You got an RPI of 14, you're 7th in the league. That's not in the top 8. Tennessee has lost 5 of 6 SEC series. Their RPI is down to 15, and they can only get to 18 league wins if they go to Fayetteville and sweep, which is not very likely. The Vols are in big trouble, and they're on kind of the bubble for a top 16 host. So they're out of this discussion for now. You go to Fayetteville and sweep and go to Hoover and win the league, we'll discuss that. But right now, they've lost 5 of 6 series, and the best they can do in the regular season is 18 wins. So the Vols are in big trouble. West Virginia is one I gave you last week because they had a chance to win the Big 12 by 3 or 4 games. But they've got RPI trouble. And they still do because it's 24. And last week they went to Kansas State, a team LSU beat in February or March. So it was right on the precipice of those 2 months. They lost to Kansas State, and so they're sinking. TCU is 3-5 against quadrant 1. Their RPI is down to 16. We're losing potential teams here. And if you look at the top of the RPI, it's all the SEC. Georgia's 1, Auburn's 2, Vanderbilt's 3, Texas is 4, Arkansas is 5. So that's 5 spots right there that I like as top 8 seeds. LSU is 7, and you go, okay, well, who's 6? That's one that could steal. Yeah, Oregon State could. Do they have work to do? Do they have a flawed resume? Yeah, because outside of their RPI, which is 6, and the reason their RPI is 6, and I will give them credit for this is not fake stuff. They're not in a conference. They had to go cobble a schedule together, and they played 21 road games. Like, they played a lot of games on the road. And that has inflated their RPI because you get more points for playing on the road. But here's the deal with Oregon State. Against quadrant 1, the best of the best, they're 5-8. 5-8. And Oregon State played 2 SEC teams early in the season and lost both. And Oregon State played Oregon in 4 games. Now, Oregon is obviously in the Big Ten. They're 19 RPI. They're 19-8 in the Big Ten. They're a good team. And Oregon State played them 4 games. 3 in Eugene, 1 in Corvallis. They played them all in a row. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday. They lost all 4. They lost all 4. So that's a weak resume to me. You look at UCLA in the Big Ten. They've got 20 Big Ten wins. They're 10th in the RPI. They could steal one, maybe. They're 3-7 against quad 1. That's atrocious. Awful. Awful. That resume stinks. Coastal Carolina, could they steal a top 8 national seed with a 12 RPI? Well, they're 4-5 against Q1. 4-5. Is that what you want to reward? Like, I'm struggling here. I can absolutely get Florida State to a top 8. I can absolutely get North Carolina to a top 8. Those are teams that could win the ACC. They'll play this weekend. But I can't get to 8 teams reasonably without including 6 SEC teams. I'm giving you all these tiny little numbers against quad 1. For reference, what the SEC teams are doing. LSU's 13-10. Texas 15-9. Vanderbilt 15-14. Auburn 14-10. Georgia 11-10. Not only do they have double and triple the amount of quad 1 wins as these other teams, they have winning records against quad 1. And the teams I'm telling you, Oregon State 5-8, UCLA 3-7, Coastal 4-5. They have losing records and not enough wins. So it's just, again, I can paint you a picture where Coastal doesn't lose the rest of the way. And if some of these teams get swept on the last weekend, maybe their RPI creeps up to 7. And LSU gets swept this weekend at South Carolina, and their RPI is all of a sudden 12. well, then all of a sudden, my conversation will change. If Auburn goes to Ole Miss this weekend and gets swept, okay, then you're looking at a 16-win team in the SEC that all of a sudden probably has an RPI closer to 9 than the 2 they're currently at, and we'll have a different discussion. But if there's a lot of 2 out of 3s and a lot of the chalk holds, I can't reasonably get there. And I had some tweets that came at me that said, look, you've got a national audience to cater to. You've got to spread things out. And I'm going, I don't know if you do. I think they did that in the 90s and gave it to money. But the fact of the matter is that the SEC has established itself as so far and away better than everybody else based on non-conference performance in January and February, based on postseason performance over the last 6 years where it's 2 SEC teams in the final every single year. And then you look at what softball's done where they let everybody in the field. You look at what basketball did where they put 14 of 16 teams in the field. It's starting to shift. There is no more Pac-12. The Big 12's best 2 teams, best 2 programs are gone. They're in the SEC. Schools like Oregon and UCLA that used to play a representative Pac-12 schedule are now spending time playing against Ohio State and Michigan and Rutgers who stink. So the landscape has changed. And I don't think I'm being biased. I don't think I'm being unreasonable. I think it's just very easy to look at the sheet and you have to make one of 2 decisions. You have to decide this is what is the correct thing to do because it's fair and it's balanced and it is representative of the numbers, or you look at this and go, we need to be a charity case and we need to make sure that everybody in Oregon State's happy. We need to throw UCLA a bone. Look at cute little Coastal. They won 21 games in their league. Let's go ahead and give, you can decide you want to do that, but you're not going to be taken seriously. And while Kendall and Mark, while Mark Etheridge does cover the SEC, Kendall and Aaron do this as nationwide. And Aaron Fitt has lived on the West Coast. He lives in ACC country right now and often comes to the defense of the forgotten man, to use a blanket term. He often says, well, that UC Irvine team's they're really good. Well, that Texas Rio Grande Valley team, that's a good club. He's consistently pumping up the little man. And they don't even try to do things a different way. It's just, yeah, Georgia's a top 8. Yeah, Auburn's a top 8. Vanderbilt, top 8. Texas, top 8. Arkansas, top 8. LSU, top 8. And oh, by the way, Alabama's sitting there at an RPI of 8. They go to Gainesville and sweep this weekend, they probably deserve a top 8. Because you'll be sitting there with 15 Q1 wins, 18 league wins, and an RPI in the top 6. That's a top 8. I didn't even mention Alabama. So to tie this around to LSU, and to put it as bluntly as I can, the biggest metric I thought was potentially going to weigh against LSU. This is going back 3 weeks when you've just got a lot left to do, so you can't dive too deeply into it, but you start to kind of get a feel for it. The biggest metric that was going to work against LSU was the amount of SEC teams ahead of them in the RPI. And now that we have more hay in the barn and there's less variability that comes at the end. Now, there is some, as I've allotted for this entire time. Weird things can happen that I'm allowing for, but I'm just telling you what's going on right now. I'm not as concerned about that. I think the committee will understand that the SEC is just deserving of having these games at home. It doesn't guarantee that they're going to get through. It's not giving anybody else a chance. You can go play the game, go win it, go beat somebody. But the host sites deserve to be where they deserve to be, and 6 of those top 8 deserve to be in the SEC. It looks that way to me. And trust me, if something crazy goes on this weekend, or next week in Hoover that I need to address on the air, I'll be right here and I'll say, man, that was really dumb because here's that. But right now, this is pretty easy. There are 6 teams that are significantly above almost everybody else. And then I've got an ACC champion in Florida State or North Carolina, whoever comes up and wins that, and then you may have one spot to play with. That's just the way it looks to me. So there's your Genesis opening drive here on this Tuesday. We'll come back with Sharif Ishak talking a little Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hope your work week is off to a good start. Hunt Palmer Show here on a Tuesday. Glenn West coming up in 10 minutes. Buzzy Heidel coming up in the, not the bottom, about an hour from now, actually, right there at the beginning of hour number 2. Also got to discuss LSU and Clemson primetime kickoff from Death Valley, I guess. Is that like sacrilege if I call it that? They call it that. I'm not really into a fighting match about who's got the real Death Valley. I think that Death Valley and Baton Rouge is great, and if they want to call theirs that, they can. It's like the school down the road in Lafayette can call themselves whatever they want. I'm not going to lose any sleep over whatever UL Lafayette wants to do in terms of the scoreboard. I just don't care. A lot of LSU fans get worked up about that kind of stuff. Not going to be me. We'll get worked up about Clemson when that time comes on Labor Day weekend. Let's talk some Saints. Sharif Ishak, WDSU down in New Orleans, going to have to give us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday. Sharif, how are we doing?
Well, Derek Carr retired, got $30 million back. LSU was an awesome weekend win, and then the price for that was the Pelicans getting the 7th overall pick.
Yeah, that was bad. That was about as bad as it can go. 2 division teams jump you, Pels fall back. It was a tough scene. I guess we can get into that a little later. I do want to talk about the Saints and Derek Carr. I'll kind of leave it open-ended, your reaction when you saw that news on Saturday, and then we'll talk about what it means for New Orleans moving forward. But what'd you think when you saw it?
Honestly, I was shocked, for sure, 100% shocked that he retired. I really thought he wasn't going to play for the Saints again. I thought he was probably be going season-ending IR, something. That was actually the definitive thing I thought was going to happen, was he was going to go to season-ending IR and just wasn't going to play for the Saints again. Now, when I showed up to the Saints facility at 9:45 just to get a parking spot, then 2 minutes later I see the breaking news. I'm like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. I was like, all right. Well, they broke up and they went their separate ways, and I saw that they got $30 million back, and I'm like, all right, even better news for the Saints. So, I think it's, for the best. How about that? If I can say it in the most professional way possible, it's for the best.
For the best, that means that somebody else has got to take snaps. That can be Tyler Shook, who they took in the second round. It can be Spencer Rattler, who started for them over the course of a few games last year. I don't know that Jake Hayner's really in that mix. And then, of course, you can go the veteran route with a Teddy Bridgewater if he wants to play, or Carson Wentz, or whatever the case may be. How do you see the Saints in the offseason navigating quarterback from here?
So they have to add a veteran. There's no doubt they're going to have to add one at some point, whether it's one of those guys you just named, Jimmy Garoppolo. Somebody has to come and come be on this team. Who I think is going to be the quarterback? It's Tyler Shook. I mean, they didn't draft him in the second round just for him to be a backup quarterback. I think Kellen wanted his quarterback, and Mickey went and got him his quarterback just like he did for Sean and Dennis. So to me, it's going to be Shook. It's going to be Shook's job to lose, and then if somebody can beat him out, that's awesome. But I just don't see anyone beating him out. I think he's going to be Kellen's quarterback.
Okay, so here's the big question that's very difficult to answer, I think. We'll see what your thoughts are. Is this Tyler Shook, sink or swim, we're going? Or if he throws, 5 interceptions the first 2 weeks, could you see, well, Spencer Rattler's going to start in week 3, or Carson Wentz is going to start in week 3 because we're trying to win in week 3? I mean, how do you handle this? Is it Shook's franchise, or is it who gives us the best chance to win the next Sunday?
I think, to me, Shook's his guy. They're going to just have to roll with him and give him the best chance to win. I mean, that's pretty much what they're looking at. I think he plays until, if something happens, like an injury, or if it's really bad. I just think that they're going to stick with him until it gets so bad that they can't stick with him. I mean, we know this is a process. This isn't like, we're, going to be a playoff team this year. It's so hard to see this team even winning more than 5 games right now. It really is. It really is. It doesn't even matter who's playing at quarterback. I really think it's so hard to see them win more than 5 or 6 games. And so I think it's Shook, and I think they're going to stick with Shook and let him ride it out. Who knows, man? He might turn out to be something solid. We just don't know. I mean, they might add some more pieces to help him. It's just, this is like a head scratcher. I'm not saying it's like the 2006 season whenever they were coming off Katrina and they signed Drew Brees, because Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. We know that. Everyone had no expectations for that season. There are 0 expectations for this season. The roster isn't great. The draft is fine. It just doesn't seem good, huh? So you just stick with him. Why don't you just ride it out with Tyler Shook? And if it doesn't work out for 2 years, you go get Arch in 2027. I mean, it doesn't, he's not your quarterback, you find another one. That's the beauty of things. He's on a cheap rookie contract. You're not paying him anything.
Have you personally written Spencer Rattler off?
I haven't written him off, but to me, it just seems like if you thought he was your quarterback, then you wouldn't have drafted Tyler Shuck. You would have just drafted a position of need. You would have drafted an edge rusher. You would have drafted another receiver to help the offense out. By them drafting him 40th overall, to me, that sounds like a commitment to Kellen Moore wanting Tyler be his starting quarterback.
What would you say if they signed Carson Wentz and he was the starter in week one?
Then I'd say we have a situation on our hand that you should have never drafted Tyler Shuck.
Okay.
But if you feel like he's not ready, but he will be ready at some point in the season, that you want to get him up to speed even more, and if the season continues going down into the dumps with Carson Wentz as their starting quarterback, and he comes in and plays after Wentz when the season's even worse than it should be, yeah, I'm good with that too. But I personally, you're asking me, I am going to start Tyler Shuck. Okay. I'm drafting somebody 40th overall. I want to start that guy because you used the pick on him in the second round.
I guess all of these questions are just a roundabout way of asking, like, because we know the Saints have always been, and we're going to do what it takes to win right now. And that's how they've operated really with this regime the entire time. And we always ask, like, is there ever a time where you think, let's just take a step back? And you haven't really seen that. Do you think Derek Carr's retirement makes that more likely that they could just say, hey, we're going to start a rookie quarterback. Like, we're probably not going to be great. Let's just throw some young guys out there. Let's not go nuts with the salary cap. Like, is there a chance in a change of philosophy that gets initiated because Derek Carr is not there? Because you can talk yourself into Derek Carr willing your way to 9 or 10 wins. I don't, but you could. It's really hard to do that with Tyler Shuck.
I really think that, like, this move right here solidified what you just said, but I still think they were going in that direction in some sort of way whenever the season ended. I think they looked at it and said, all right, this is where we can start our soft rebuild. We are probably just going to draft the quarterback here, and Derek's not going to play. Then he retires and gives them $30 million towards the cap. So now it accelerates it even more. They're not going to say it out in public to us that, hey, this is a rebuild. We're not trying to go for it all here. I mean, optics are there, Hunt. The optics are there. You drafted 9 players. You didn't give up future assets. You haven't done anything really outlandish or crazy in free agency. You didn't give up any, money. You have money going into next year. Salary cap. So I think that the writing's on the wall, and you're seeing it now that it's a soft rebuild, and that rebuild is on its way.
That's a positive, if you ask me, for sure. Sharif Ishak, WDSU, is our guest here talking all things New Orleans. We'll transition now to the Pelicans. How disastrous was last night? I know that the first pick in Cooper Flagg was not likely, but to drop that many spots behind 2 division rivals, it's not good.
Optics. We just talked about optics. The optics for the NBA don't look good at all. I mean, that is an absolute disaster for teams like, I always said it, like, if they should get rid of the lottery. If you are going to sacrifice 82 games, you want to tank and upset your fans, make them mad to get a top pick, then go do it. Go do it. It's up to you. You're going to be the ones who are going to suffer, and fans aren't going to show up to your games. If you want to do it, that's fine. They've got a way to fix it. They have to find a way to fix this lottery system, whether if it's no team in the playoff and play-in should be eligible to get into the top 4, or at least the top pick. Once you get the top pick, you shouldn't be eligible for the top pick for 3 years. Do something to where, like, something like last night doesn't happen, where a team with 1.8% chance who traded Luka to the Lakers gets the top pick. It's rigged. I know people don't want to say the word rigged. It's rigged. I mean, look, the Pelicans traded AD, they got the first pick. I mean, the Pelicans traded Chris Paul, they ended up getting the first pick. It's just, it's rigged, man. There's no other way to say it. People hate the word rigged, but it's there. I mean, that should not have happened last night. Those 2 teams should not be 1 and 2 in the NBA draft. It walks like a duck, quacks like a duck's a duck, dude. It just stinks. The whole thing stinks. And the Pelicans, I'm not mad at the Pelicans didn't get the number 1 pick. They should have gotten the 4th or 5th pick. I just think it's bad for those teams who are absolutely abysmal to get 4, 5, 6, and 7. It just makes no sense to me.
Maybe Cooper Flagg falls to 7. What do you think?
If that happens, I'll never say anything negative about the Saints or Pelicans again.
I don't think don't think we'll have to worry about that.
Yeah.
All right, Sharif. We appreciate the time. We'll talk next week.
All right. Can't wait to talk about OTAs.
That's right. That'll be coming up next week. We'll do it. Sharif Ishak, WDSU, down in New Orleans. For all our Saints coverage, you can find Ross Jackson's work over at LouisianaSports.net. And certainly you can find all my Saints content, Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcasts, and on YouTube. We'll step aside, come back. Glenn West talking Tigers next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. I've spoken about this a number of times, but it bears repeating multiple times a week about the quality of people at Genesis of Baton Rouge and the incredible facility they've got airline at PQ. I've been in a lot of car dealerships over the years. When I was in insurance, I worked with car dealers. I have not found a more aesthetically pleasing and comfortable showroom in my career. It's incredibly nice. The ambiance is great. It's a great place to get a little bit of work done if you're spending some time on the service aisle. I tell you all the time, you don't have to go to the service aisle because they've got valet service. They'll go get your car, bring it in. But if you'd like to stop by, got incredible coffee machine, the snacks everywhere, peaceful ambiance in there, and great Wi-Fi. You can get some work done. And it's impeccably clean. And the people that you're going to see there at Genesis Baton Rouge are phenomenal. And they're not going to make you feel pressured. They're not going to make you feel taken advantage of. That happens some places in the car world, not at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go see them, Airline at PQ. If you're buying a new car in Baton Rouge, you can certainly be on Airline Highway. Just make one more stop over there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can start that process today online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
right, chugging along here, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Every week at this time, we go out to the Jim's Farms hotline, chat with our guy Glenn West from Go 24/7. Got you covered for LSU basketball, LSU baseball, LSU football. Great recruiting coverage over there as well. Joins us now. Glenn, how we doing?
Doing great, Hunt. How about yourself?
I'm okay. I vehemently disagreed with one of your tweets today. I'm going to have to take you to task for it right now. You said, Jay Johnson said Cade Anderson threw a bullpen session yesterday, and everything is good to go this weekend. Was never a worry going back for Friday, but more affirmation. Incorrect, sir. I was very worried on Friday. I was very worried on Saturday morning when I left the box. So that is an incorrect tweet as far as I'm concerned. Would you like to speak for yourself there?
Okay, I'll defend myself a little bit here and say that I meant Friday after the game, after we got a chance to talk with Jay Johnson. They did not seem all that concerned about Cade Anderson. They let him through those 2 pitches on the mound, and really Jay knew from there that he was going to be okay. It was just a wrist cramp, but yeah, I'll plead the fifth on that one. I'll let you take me to task on that one, but
okay.
Anderson's good to go this weekend. That's the most important thing.
That's good to hear. I was obviously in the press conference when Jay was talking about that on, I guess that was Saturday morning at that point because they finished at 2:00. Yeah. But I, more so than what he said, I just looked at the way he said it. And it felt like lighthearted because we know that at times Jay's not going to be saying a lot about injuries. And so what he said, I was like, we'll see. But he felt like he was relieved after the game.
Yeah, he gave us more information than I expected, to be quite honest with you. And that just tells me that, that they weren't all that concerned. And Anderson got checked out of the game, and they went back and they reviewed him and examined him and everything. And it came back clean that night. So good to see that he was throwing bullpens yesterday and that he's ready to go this weekend at South Carolina.
I put out a poll yesterday, midday, asking if you had one game to win, who would you give the ball to, Ianson or Anderson? I got 998 votes, so 2 under 1,000. It was 51.2 to 48.8 in favor of Anderson, which is stunning to me, and I can't really remember, outside of maybe last year with Holman and Jump, who I think these 2 guys are pitching actually better than those 2 guys were. I can't remember anything like this as far as the top of a rotation and how close the 2 guys are. Do you have an answer for that? And then just kind of big picture, how much of an advantage is that for LSU?
Yeah, I saw the vote and I voted Cade Anderson. So that's my pick. I think he's been doing it for you all season. And look, we're splitting hairs here because I think there is a very easy argument you can make for Anthony Ianson in terms of who's been better in SEC play. Like, I think both of those guys have been awesome, and I don't think you can go wrong with either one. But the way that Ianson has developed so rapidly here over the last month in particular against some of the top teams in the country, whether it's Tennessee, Arkansas, you go back to Alabama, he was really good in that game as well. He's just been super, super sharp for him. But I love what Anderson's done too. You've seen the velo tick up a little bit on Anderson, going 95, 96 at times for LSU in that starting role on Friday. And he's just been really, really steady. And I tweeted out really after his first game that I thought, there's your ace. And, people kind of jumped on me for it a little bit at the time, saying I was a little too quick to the draw there. But I just think he's got the demeanor, he's got the character and the maturity, the pitch ability. He throws all 4 pitches that he has for strikes and really locates them extremely well. And that's going to do wonders for LSU to have that 1-2 punch come postseason time. You can start either one of them, honestly, in the first game of a regional and feel really good about it. And then you got the other one against what you would hope would be a 1-2 or 1-3 matchup, and you're in a really good spot there going into the rest of the regional. So I think both of those guys are the ones that are going to set the tone for this pitching staff. But I do have one pitcher that I think really kind of can set the tone or be the difference maker for this staff if he's able to continue pitching the way that he did on Sunday, and that's Chase Shores. Like, I think he's a guy that, for me, if they can continue to work and build on that for him, he's somebody that I think changes the entire complexion of this pitching staff and in LSU's chances in the postseason.
I listened to you and Bryce on y'all's podcast earlier this morning, and you were talking about seeing a little bit of a a difference in Chase Shores as far as mechanically on Sunday. I'll let you kind of speak to that. And then, like, what role do you see for him? Do you think he needs to start games? Is he more comfortable where he was on Sunday? Like, how do you – both of those parts to the equation here with Shores?
Yeah, I mean, I think on Sunday, one of the first things I noticed was that when there was nobody on and no outs, they had him pitching from the stretch. And, typically you do that with a pitcher when there's some command concerns, when or just want things that you want to work on mechanically from a command perspective. And the other part of that I saw that was really interesting was he kind of had his right foot in front of his body a little bit more. His front foot was a little bit more protective of his arm. Like I think the way that they were trying to hide his pitches maybe a little bit better with that kind of front angled stance on the way that he was at the mound. And he talked about that after the game on Sunday, that those couple tweaks there I think really helped him go 3 1/3 and only gave up 1 run. When his fastball is landing and his off-speed pitches are landing, he's a really difficult pitcher to hit. And I would imagine that LSU continues to roll him out of the bullpen for elongated relief outings, three innings, 4 innings here and there. I think he's got obviously the durability. I mean, he pitched twice last weekend, and I think he looked good in both of those outings. But he's somebody that, honestly, if they're able to get some consistency out of him on the mound in the postseason, it just adds another layer to this pitching staff that I think is going to be really difficult for opponents.
In that vein, Kason Evans was so good against Tennessee, and you were like, okay, well, they got this figured out. And then the last 2 weeks against really good offenses, not as good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's, we asked, or Cokie Riley, I should say, asked that question to Jay after the game on Sunday as well. And he kind of gave us the answer of it's a freshman going through the rough parts of the schedule and, not to look too much into it. But look, you're going to be facing these teams, in the postseason, whether it's regional, super regional, Omaha, whatever it is. I just don't think that there's any team out there that has the talent of a guy like Kason Evans going on a third day. And, I think you got to continue to rock with him if you're able to get to that position on a Sunday or a game 3, whatever it is of a regional. If you have him available, you're going to throw him to start those games. And so I think, look, his command has been maybe a little bit off. I think Arkansas was really coming out aggressive against him early in that outing. They were hunting that fastball. And this goes with any pitcher, if you're not landing your off speed for strikes, it just becomes a really easy game plan for good hitting teams. And so I think that's just something he's going to have to continue to work on. But he still was able to do a really nice job of limiting damage in 3 of the 4 innings. I know he got hit on a little bit there in the 3rd inning, but even going back to last week against A&M, he did a nice job, getting out of some trouble. And so if you're able to just at least do that on an off day, that's a pretty good outing for a pitcher. But I think there's just so much more in the tank for Evans, and he'll continue to learn as a starter. But I don't have any long-term concerns about him or anything like that.
We've just discussed kind of all the backbone of this LSU pitching staff, save Zach Cowan, who I don't know there's a lot to talk about there after another great outing over the weekend. But 2 guys that haven't necessarily represented that have gotten some opportunities in the last 3 weeks are Jaden Newton, Cooper Williams. Any thought on what those guys could give LSU in the postseason?
Yeah, we just talked to Cooper actually at player interviews today, and he just essentially told us like he's been very grateful for the opportunities he's had in recent weeks. They've done a thing with him, honestly, where they're throwing him out there for really 5, 6, 7 pitches to go get 1 out or 2 outs against the lefty part of a lineup. So I think he's somebody that, in matchup-based circumstances, LSU is going to go to in the postseason, but don't know that you're looking for like extensive innings out of him. But if he can get you 2 critical outs or 1 critical out, it's a win. So I do think that LSU really likes what they have with him. But you mentioned Jaden Newt. I think he's honestly one of the bigger X factors on this pitching staff. I think you're finally seeing that fastball really get up to 95, 96, and he's got a little bit better command, I think, than maybe he had earlier in the season, and carries himself with a really good demeanor. We talked to him prior to the Arkansas series this last weekend, and he's somebody that you can tell like he's got a bright future in this program if he wants to continue to stay here. But certainly after missing 2 years of baseball, the one thing that you're always worried about with a pitcher like that is just how long it takes for the command to come back. And I think over the last couple of weeks, we've seen him throw some really big innings for LSU, and I would expect that to continue going forward.
How many do they win this weekend in Columbia?
I think they win 2. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 3, but I think they get at least 2. And all this is really not a hard decision. I think even if they were to lose this series, you still have a really strong case and would have to have a lot of things go negatively against you to not be in that kind of top 8 range. But if you handle your business this weekend, there's no discussion, and you can really go into the SEC tournament with an open mind on how you want to use the pitchers and all that stuff. And I think that that's going to be the goal for LSU.
We shall see. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next week, Glenn. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Hunt.
Glenn West, Go 24/7. All your team coverage, recruiting coverage, they got you covered over at Go 24/7. It's interesting because they've got some talented guys in that bullpen, and it seems like they're on like a 70% hit rate. Like 70% of the time you put them out there, they're pretty good or really good, and then 30% of the time you send them out there and they can't throw it over the plate. And that's the case with like Rizzi, Schmidt. Certainly the case that you've seen. Newt hadn't really had that issue, just got hit a little bit at times. But it's going to be interesting to see what buttons Jay Johnson decides to push once the postseason comes. And honestly, like what he tries to do in Columbia this weekend, and certainly if you win games in Hoover. So that's the last piece to this puzzle right now as far as roles go. I think the roles are defined as far as the offense goes. You got to just hit a little bit more week to week. And then the roles just aren't quite there from a pitching perspective after Anderson, Ianson, and Cowan. What do you got after that? It's fascinating stuff. We'll certainly talk about it a little bit more as we move forward. When we come back, speaking of an LSU pitcher, really, really cool stuff happening next spring. We'll talk about that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Some very cool news coming out a little bit earlier today on MLB Network. Paul Skeens joined the crew on MLB Central and announced that he has committed to playing in the 2026 World Baseball Classic.
Was it an electric announcement? Was he just ecstatic? I'm sure
I
he
just
was
saw
like,
a graphic.
I'm sure he was just over the moon. Just
I would imagine it
amazing
sounded
energy.
something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna. They asked me if I wanted to pitch in the World Baseball Classic. I was like, yeah, I'll definitely do it.
I got to go find it now, and we got to go find it and play it and see how close
see
you
how
were.
close that
you
was.
might have been pretty close to it.
Get after it. Go see. But look, it's there's a cool little wrinkle there because obviously Paul Skeens was at the Air Force Academy for 3 years, and at that point decided to pursue baseball as opposed to service. And we know what happened. Comes to LSU, becomes National Pitcher of the Year, the first pick in the draft, and all of a sudden, after half a year in professional baseball, is up and starting the All-Star game 2 months after his Major League debut, and he won the Rookie of the Year, and he finished third in the Cy Young, and all these things happened so quickly. But he still got that background as a guy who attended the Air Force Academy voluntarily, and now he'll get to wear USA across his chest and be the ace of the team in the spring for next year. And like the World Baseball Classic, I don't know if it's become massive. It kind of is what it is. Had, obviously a really difficult situation there when Edwin Diaz got hurt for the year pitching in the World Baseball Classic. But, you also had last year the incredible theater of Shohei Ohtani pitching against Mike Trout with the World Baseball Classic on the line. I think that garnered a lot of headlines. And I'll certainly watch a little bit of his own. I'll certainly watch Paul Skeens when he pitches for Team USA. But I think it's great when players decide to do this. I think that the NBA guys should do it almost all the time because they don't have to play a ton of minutes, and I don't see as big a risk. This certainly is a risk. Pitchers in March are a risk. Like, that just is a fact. And so I could understand if Pittsburgh really pushed back against this, with the understanding they all know that they're only getting 5 years out of Paul Skeens, and he's getting the heck out of there. They've already 4 games this year. Paul Skeens has allowed 2 runs or less, and the Pirates have lost in those starts because their bullpen is atrocious and their lineup is awful, and they don't spend any money, and they lucked into literally, this is an overused term, but literally a generational pitcher that they've got here. And I tweeted this out yesterday. I was like, because they blew another save that Skeens had given them an opportunity to win. It's like he's just going to have to hold his nose and wait until free agency happens, and then he can go be the ace for the Red Sox or the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Padres, whoever wants to pay him $400 million. But right now, he's got to wade through it with Pittsburgh, and they obviously know that they don't get guys like this very often. So I would not have been surprised if Pittsburgh would have told him, like, you can't go do that. But I'm thrilled that Paul is going to do it. Don't think the Team USA is going to overuse him in March in any way. You're probably looking at 4 or 5 inning stints at most. And I think it's phenomenal. It's a great thing for Paul, great thing for Team USA, great thing for the World Baseball Classic, and also a great thing for LSU as he continues to be an ambassador for the program. And you look at Livy Dunn, who today, as Paul Skeens announced that he's going to pitch for Team USA, Livy Dunn announces that she's Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover model. So big day for the Skeens Dunn power couple there. in Baton Rouge and Pittsburgh. But very, very cool that Paul's going to do that. I was thrilled to see the news. I wrote a story up on it at louisianasports.net, and you can go check that out. You can also find the first hour of this show on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, review, and you can get your sound wherever you find your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify. We are there. Hour number one, we talked LSU baseball resume and how I think LSU is very, very likely a top 8 national seed. The D1 baseball guys have them as the number 2 national seed as of today. Sharif Ishak at 1:15 talking Saints. Glenn West was with us talking LSU pitching, and then we talked a little bit of Paul Skeens there at the end. We've got Buzzy Hideout coming up in 20 minutes. We'll talk to Buzz about this LSU baseball team. And we also have a kickoff time for LSU and Clemson. I'll tell you what that means for LSU and Clemson after SportsCenter. Hope your work week is off to an awesome start here on this Tuesday. Also hope you'll come back with us after SportsCenter for hour number 2 on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is that website. Go check out the website. You can see phenomenal pictures of their great work. You can see testimonials from satisfied clients, and you can get a free consultation right there on the website. It doesn't cost anything for David Duvall and his team to come on out and see you and see what they can do for you. Bathrooms can be a hazardous place. If there's someone in your life that's aging and they want to stay at home, but you could see an unfortunate scenario unfolding in there with slips and falls, do what you can to mitigate that risk. You can't take the risk away, but you can mitigate that risk. Non-slip floors. You can put in some handrails in slippery areas. You can do a walk-in tub for convenience and comfort and safety. You can put a bench in the shower as well. All these things are things that David Duvall and One Bath and Closets do all the time. So start your process online today at onebathandclosets.com. Get that free consultation and start moving. It's One Bath and Closets, and you can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Bengal star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson appeared at the team's voluntary workouts today, not in uniform. Told reporters he won't play this season under his current contract. He said yesterday the Bengals cut off contract talks with him. The Celtics waiting for word on their best player, Jason Tatum, undergoing an MRI today on an apparent non-contact lower leg injury suffered last night. With Boston down 3-1, one player has to step up in Game 5 tomorrow in the East semis against the Knicks, says ESPN NBA analyst Jay Williams.
This is why you got the bag, Jaylen Brown. This is your $300 million moment. And this time demands that moment for you to lead this team. I think this is a moment in time for Jaylen Brown, who has not had a great series by any means of his standards, to come out and put his team on his back. It's a moment in time for Jaylen Brown to lead this team.
Cavaliers guard Donovan Mitchell, ankle injury, questionable versus Indiana tonight, Game 5 in a must-win of the East semis. NHL West semis, Stars top defenseman Miro Heiskanen expected back from an ankle injury, Game 4 against the Jets tonight, 8 Eastern, ESPN.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, the Wolves are on the verge of getting to the conference finals, but would beating the Warriors without Steph Curry on the court actually be a good thing for Anthony Edwards? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Chat with Buzzy Heidel coming up in 15 minutes. We talked a lot of pitching with Glenn West. I want to talk about the LSU offense some with Buzzy, so we'll do that coming up at 2:15. We got some news today. I actually thought we already had this news, but I'm an idiot because we didn't have this news, but now we have the news, so I'll tell you the news. Brett McMurphy got the news, so I'm going to read the news from Brett Murphy to tell you the news. LSU and Clemson will kick off Saturday, August the 30th. That is Labor Day weekend at 6:30 Central Time. That'll be a 7:30 local kickoff in Clemson, South Carolina. Game will be broadcast on ABC. And what does that mean? Well, it means basically this. That Saturday, you're going to have big noon kickoff in the shoe, Texas and Ohio State, the defending national champs. A Final Four team in Texas, Arch Manning at quarterback, all the pomp and circumstance. My sincere guess is that College Game Day will be there for Lee Corso's final broadcast. He'll do his last headgear pick where he did his first headgear pick, even though Fox has the broadcast rights to that game. But that game is at 11 a.m. Central Time. And that will give way to Alabama at Florida State at 3:30. And that will give way to LSU at Clemson at 7:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Central Time. And everybody in the nation is going to be watching that. And everybody in the nation was watching LSU and Florida State 4 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever that was. Everybody in the nation was watching LSU and Florida State 2 years ago in Orlando because those were Sunday games. Everybody in the nation was watching LSU and USC last year because those were three straight Sunday openers for LSU. With with Labor Day coming the following day. So everybody was watching. And everybody's going to be watching this one too, because you're going to have a pair of likely top 5 teams, a pair of top 5 Heisman contenders, a rematch of 2019's national championship game in a college home stadium on network television in prime time where there is really no competition for it. And so you got the eyes of the nation staring right at you. And I can't help but sit here and think that, you're either going to emerge from that game with a Heisman frontrunner and a trendy national championship pick, or the laughingstock of the country, because you will have lost 6 straight season openers. Like, I don't see a middle ground here. Even if you lose by getting a field goal blocked in overtime, lose like you did against Florida State in the Superdome, which was a crazy way to lose a game, and the closest you can be. I still think you're a laughingstock because everybody's watching these games. You don't bury these at 2 o'clock on that Saturday when everybody's watching their own teams. Everybody's games are going to be done by the time we kick off the third quarter in Clemson. And it's 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and you're the only show in town. So everybody will be watching. I would imagine that'll be Fowler and Herb Street. And you've got 2 options. The option that you've had for 5 years, or the option that you kind of had. These were not season openers, but it'll be similar to, well, Oregon was a season opener. I take that back. It'll be similar to Oregon and Dallas, where everybody looks and goes, whoa. And then Virginia Tech in 2007, when game day was in Baton Rouge and Frank Beamer's team came in here, and LSU, I don't know if I've ever seen an LSU team play a more complete game than the one we saw that day. But you're either, because even if LSU wins 17-16, it'll be a massive statement win. But if LSU loses 17-16, you've blown it again. And everyone will know. It is as consequential a season opener as LSU has played in some time. And we said that about LSU and USC last year, but I don't think anybody really thought that LSU and USC were legitimate national title contenders last year. Like, USC was trying to rebuild an abysmal defense, so was LSU. LSU was losing the Heisman Trophy winner, 2 first-round wide receivers, brand new defensive coordinator. Like, I'm sure there are people in Baton Rouge that felt like LSU could win the national championship, but I don't think anybody nationally was really thinking about that. How many ESPN best newcomers lists and preseason prognostications, how many of those do I have to? A lot of people are picking LSU. Josh Pate, 24/7 Sports, just put out his post-spring top 25. Clemson, number 1. LSU, I think, number 7. Either way, those are title contending numbers. So I don't think anybody thought LSU was contending for a title in Brian Kelly's first year. Certainly not in his second year. Third year, I just laid out. Like, this is everybody's suggestion to be Brian Kelly's best team at LSU. This is the year that LSU stepped up to the plate from an NIL perspective. This is the year you've got a Heisman potential front runner coming back, which doesn't happen very often. And it's all right there for everyone in the country to lock in on. It's a big, big deal. We've gone over the scheduling philosophy time and time again. And if you'd like to hear Verge Osbury talk about it, you can do that on Matt's show after further review. He sat down with Matt yesterday and had a conversation about scheduling. There isn't one that looks like this. Clemson coming up on the schedule. Yeah, you're playing SMU coming up, and yeah, you're going to Houston and playing. Those are Power 5 teams, ACC, Big 12. But at Clemson, top 10 matchup, primetime ABC, only show in town, you're going to struggle to find me a more impactful opener dating back to 2011 with Oregon. I mean, we had high hopes for LSU in 2016 with Leonard Fournette, Malachi Dupree, and Tre'Davious White, and Kendall Beckwith, and Arden Key. And talented group. Went up to Lambeau, got beat. But this is that on another level. Nobody thought Wisconsin was winning the national championship. Nobody had Wisconsin's quarterback as a Heisman frontrunner or a potential top 10 pick in the draft like Cade Klubnik is. And I think there's probably 50% of the fan base that thinks this is the coolest thing ever. And there's probably 50% of the fan base that looks at this and goes, why are we beating our head against the wall doing this? It doesn't really matter how you feel. It doesn't matter if you're in that 50% camp or that 50% camp. The fact of the matter is it's coming, and it's prime time, and you're going to be out there for the nation to either praise and roundly respect or point and laugh at. Those are the stakes. It's more forgiving in a 12-team playoff than it is in a 4-team playoff or a 2-team BCS. So your season's not going to end if everybody points and laughs at you. But you better walk a high wire from there until Thanksgiving, because there's not a lot of forgiveness after that. And you still got to go to Oxford, and you still got to go to Tuscaloosa, and A&M's still coming here, and you still got to go to Norman. You still got to play Florida. It's a lot. Should be fun. We'll get there when we get there, as they say. Got about 2 months until SEC Media Days and about 2.5 months until LSU reports for fall camp, and then we'll really ratchet things up. But LSU and Clemson, for those that missed the top of this segment, 6:30 Central Time on ABC from Little Death Valley over there in Clemson, South Carolina. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll talk some LSU offense. Buzzy Heidel, national champion, member of the LSU Sports Radio Network. We'll do all that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. 10 years, 100,000-mile warranty. 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. That's as good as you're going to find in the industry. Talking about 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. That's as good as you're going to find in the industry. You buy that vehicle and it's time to get some maintenance done. You got to get the oil change, got to deal with the wiper blades, wiper fluid, you got to deal with the air filter, all that. They'll come get your car, bring it right to the dealership. They leave you a loaner. If you've got things to do on that day, go do them. When they're done, that complimentary maintenance, they bring the car right back to you. It can't be any easier than that. It's just part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. When I say Genesis Baton Rouge, you should think, oh, luxury vehicle. And when I say luxury vehicle, don't just immediately disqualify yourself in terms of price. Just go see. They're an airline at PQ, right across from Women's Hospital. Go see them. Chat with one of their brand ambassadors. See if it's reasonable for you. Get behind the wheel. See the difference. You'll notice pretty quickly. Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find all of that inventory online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Busy show here on this Tuesday. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Chatted with Sharif Ishak in the first hour, talking some Saints. Had Glenn West on and go 24/7. Talk a little LSU pitching. I want to talk some LSU offense. Our next guest, Buzzy Heidel, national champion, member of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here. Buzz, I haven't talked to you on the air since you came back from Augusta. I want to talk about that briefly before we do baseball. Any celeb sightings on the 10th hole this year?
Yeah, there was a few. The one that's going to be most notable, since we are on a sports radio talk show, it was Ken Griffey Jr., which I'm sure got a lot of play just because he was there as part of the media and taking pictures. But it was really neat to literally have him I'd gone to the bathroom during a break and I was walking right behind him. It took everything I had not to tap him on the shoulder and just tell him he was my childhood hero and tell him, I literally wanted to be him as a 10-year-old baseball player. So, but that was a cool one. Of course, all the other sports, people that are always there. Eli Manning was there, and Eli had his, he's a new member there. So he had his green jacket on, and Roger Federer. Let's see, anybody else? Just a lot of the same old crew, but Ken Griffey Jr. was a new one that was, again, pretty cool. Brought me back to my childhood when I saw him.
So I was listening to some podcasts after the Masters ended, and I called it the best golf tournament I'd ever watched. Were you anywhere around 18 when Rory finally won it? I know that it was an absolute sea of humanity. So where were you when the final putt dropped?
Yeah, so, I don't know if for anybody that doesn't know, I work hole 10, and that's really the hole I work every year. And it can be anywhere on 10. It can be at the tee box, I can be in the fairway, I can be up at the green. On Sunday, I was actually at the green, and then our responsibilities end once the final group comes through. So I know everybody's going to think this is probably crazy because it was it was Rory McIlroy's grand slam. He was looking to conquer it, and all these historic moments was about to happen, and one would think that I would stick around to watch that, but we're there for so long, and it's a long week. So when they come through and that final group gets through number 10, we hightail it out of there, get on the road, and try to make it back home at a decent hour. And so no, I was nowhere near the 18 hole or the course for that matter. As we were, 2 hours in 8.5, 9 hour ride back home.
So they've got you covered, because I know that if the playoff would have gone to 10 if they had tied the first playoff hole, they got you covered for that. You don't have any responsibility there.
Correct. Hole 18 takes over for all playoffs. All playoff holes. So exactly, yeah. And there's been two for sure that I can think of that have ended on 10 in years past. Adam Scott, obviously with the putt, and then of course the Bubba Watson hook shot out of the trees. So there's definitely been a few Masters won on 10, but no, I would not be a part of that.
All right, that's all we need to know. That's been your Augusta Minute here as Buzzy Heidel joins the show. Let's talk some LSU offense. Buzz, I don't have a good reason for this, and I doubt you do, but I'll toss it to you. LSU has been pretty damn good on offense in conference play at home, and on the road they've been bad. I mean, they were bad in College Station for a lot of that weekend. They were terrible at Auburn. It was cold in Oklahoma, but they didn't swing the bats worth a flip up there either. You have any reason for that?
Your guess is as good as mine, Hunt. I was just looking at some numbers. other than Stanfield, Curiel, and Dickinson, nobody else is hitting above 300 in the SEC. I mean, you can almost say over the last 2 weekends, or last couple weekends, talking about Tennessee and Arkansas. I mean, they didn't swing it very good in that first game. Of course, the bats lit up a little bit as the weekend went on in both those series. But yeah, no real. I mean, I guess other than the home field advantage is a real thing, and the crowd, we feed off of that, and it's you get yourself in better counts. Maybe pitchers struggle a little bit on the opposing team, and so when you get yourself in good counts, which possibly can happen. Again, I don't have any stats to validate that, but get yourself in better counts and pitchers get shaken up a little bit with the home crowd. Maybe that can be a reason why they're hitting better at home. But, it's funny because, back in 2007, we had it was Paul Maneri's first year. Speaking of Paul Maneri, they'll go on to face South Carolina this weekend. But Paul Maneri's having much similar year at South Carolina like he did in 2007 at LSU. But we actually were better on the road, and we were not a good team that year. But I remember going on the road and beat Mississippi State. I think we went on the road and beat Arkansas. We had won a game at South Carolina when we had no business then winning a game. So my point is, it just depends. Like that year was almost like the pressure got off of us when we got out of Alex Box and was able just to go to somewhere else and not have the pressure of the crowd, if that makes any sense. But look, the number one team in the country, and I've had people ask me, do you think that's valid? Do you think they're the number one team in the country? I mean, you tell me somebody else that deserves to be over them at this point. I mean, I don't think there's a clear number one. Do I see a few little holes still in this LSU team? Sure. But I like them. I like them just as well as anybody in the country right now.
Yeah, that was my point yesterday on the show. I was like, look, they've got their issues, but everybody does, and they are good enough to beat everybody. Like, I don't know if they will or not. I don't know if they'll get out of their own regional. They're good enough to do whatever they want. It's just a matter of how well they play, and that's the deal. Like, everybody in the SEC is taking their shots. Every single team, including now Texas, who's lost 2 weekends in a row. What do you feel like is the aspect of this team that gives you the most confidence?
Well, the 1 and 2 guy. I mean, when you go back in the history of I guess you could go really anybody who's won a national championship, but let's just stick to LSU since that's who we are. Every national championship team at LSU, I mean, look, it's a college team. It's not a professional team, so it's not like at some point you're going to have a hole somewhere that you just got to battle through and figure out a way to win, even though you don't have 27 players that can all do it for you. And I mean, but why I say that is because if I was being so particular, yeah, you'd like to have another bullpen guy or two. The Gavin Guidry injury is a big one, I think, for LSU. But they're finding a way to get it done. I mean, their 1-2, Anderson and Ianson, is as good a 1-2 in the country, if not the best in the country. So, you put that as a 10 on the 1 to 10 scale, right? And then you figure out, the Sunday deal is you just got to kind of figure it out. They're trying to do that right now with, okay, if Evans doesn't throw one of the first 2 games, he starts on Sunday. If he throws in one of the first 2 games and is extended, then I guess you go to Shores or a Connor Ware on Sunday, and then you piece it together. But the main thing I like with this team, their offense is good enough. I mean, you're going to have your ups and downs. It's college baseball. There's the guys on the other team get scholarships too, and they've got they're good pitchers, and they're trying to get you out. So offensively, you're going to have your ups and downs. I think they've been pretty good all year, and they can win with that offense. Pitching wise, your 1 and 2 is great. I'd like to find another guy out of the bullpen, whether that be a Rizzi or one of the left-handers in Primo or Cooper Williams, or a Connor Ware step up. Somebody else needs to step up out of that bullpen. But if you look in the history of time, back to my original thought of LSU, there's always somebody that you probably didn't think was going to be an important factor throughout the course of a year to step up and do something big down the stretch that helps you to a national championship. Who's that going to be this year? Who knows? But if they want to win it, somebody's going to have to do something special, particularly from the pitching side, and I think particularly out of the bullpen.
One question I want to ask you about offense, because we've seen Jay Johnson, we've seen him have very different teams, and this team's got its own personality, but I don't have statistics to back this up. They are showing bunt and bunting, sacrificing and squeezing, safety and suicide more than they have in the last 3 years combined, I think. Why do you think that is, and how do you feel about it?
Well, I am not going to be critical of Jay Johnson. He's obviously a national championship coach. He gets paid a lot of money to make the decisions that I'm glad I don't have to. But with that being said, I think the same thing, Hunt, and I'll tell you, there's times where I forgot what game it was, but Daniel Dickinson was hitting the cover. I mean, he was hitting balls all over the field. I mean, balls are coming off the bat 100+ miles an hour. I mean, he was like 3 for 3 at the time. It was 2 outs. He had runners in scoring position. It's like later in the game, and I think the game was kind of out of hand. And he tried to lay down a drag bunt, for a hit with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. And I'm thinking, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. This guy's hitting as well as anybody on the team at the time, and you see, and look, I saw it these last couple weekends where guys in scoring position. I'm not a big fan of it. Again, this is not questioning Jay Johnson. He's the coach. He can do what he wants. I'm not a fan of guys in scoring position trying to lay down a bunt. I mean, especially a guy at second base and laying down a bunt. I mean, maybe at third you try to lay down a bunt with maybe a little semi shift on, or the third baseman's playing deep and you can steal a run or something. Okay, I guess I can see that possibly, although I still like swinging the bat. You got a guy at second base with 2 outs. You got to drive that run in. What is the bunt going to do? Just get him over to third so you can pass the baton on to the next guy. So I don't have a good reason for it either, other than maybe Johnson thinks they don't have as much power or pop in this lineup, and so he's really trying to figure out a way to manufacture runs, or maybe they really show how well they can do it in practice, how well they can bunt. So he thinks it's a weapon in the games. I'm all about being able to bunt. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about a sacrifice bunt from time to time, getting runners over, guys at the bottom of the lineup. But when you get to that 2, 3, 4, 5 hole hitter, I mean, I want you to get the foot down and be ready to drive the baseball extremely hard somewhere. I'm not about laying down the bunt in the middle of that heart of that lineup. And I do feel like I agree with you, Hunt. We see it a little too often with LSU. I don't know why. I wish I had a good answer for you.
You were on that 07 team you referenced. That was Pulmonari's first team here. The 08 team obviously got hot and won 24 in a row, and the 09 team was a national championship team. But the 07 team was not great, did not make the NCAA tournament. How do you think he's handling being 2-25 18 years later? Or 5-22, I should say.
5-22, and listen, I mean, short of LSU just bus breaking down and not getting to the stadium for this matchup coming up, I mean, it's probably going to be 5 and whatever that
25.
Is. Yeah, I mean, it's I think he's handling it well, but I can tell you right now, he's not happy about it. And I was talking to another buddy the other day about, as bad as that 07 team was, I mean, and this had a lot to do with Jared Bradford on that team, don't get me wrong, but we still figured out a way to win 12 games. We tied a game too. I think we went 12, 17-1 that year. And
tied Kentucky. That was my freshman year. I was there, and the umpires did a terrible job.
Right. So, I mean, not that 12 wins is something to be proud of, but, I mean, nowadays that would almost get you in a regional. 12, 13 wins almost get you in a regional these days. But my point is that was a bad year, and we figured out a way to win 12 games. They're liable to only figure out a way to win 5 games in conference play. And, I mean, a lot of it's ugly, too. I mean, if you watch some of those Auburn games last weekend, that was not pretty. That's not Pulmonary coach baseball teams, I can tell you. And, look, he got there. He obviously, hopefully, I would think would get at least another year or two to get his guys in there, figure it out. But, I mean, I think coach is definitely going to have to figure out the new way of college baseball, which is you kind of got to get your hands dirty a little bit and be willing to steal people away from other teams. I mean, that's just the nature of the business. It's not illegal. You got to go get players that can do it, and that's getting in the transfer portal, that's figuring out NIL money, that's doing a lot of things that he didn't have to do for all of his coaching career. And again, that's just the way of the business now. But I think he's handling it well. I just hope they give him enough time. And I know in this business you don't have all the time in the world, but I do hope they give him enough time to figure this out, because you can look at the track record, Hunt. I mean, you know this. go look at his record everywhere he's ever been. He's always won. Why would South Carolina be any different? Yeah, the league's tough. It's always been tough. It's really tough now. You just got to go get good players. You're at a good university. You're at a good spot, a good location. You just got to go get the players, and you got to have them buy into the system and win baseball games. That's all there is to it. But I'm pulling for him. Always do. Always will. And I hope. I don't know that this weekend's going to get any better for him. So that's probably not going to end his first year at South Carolina very well. But we'll see how it goes moving forward.
We will. We appreciate the time, Buzz. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Buzz.
Buzzy Heidel, former LSU Tiger national champion, member of the LSU Sports Radio Network. It's just, as far as pulmonary goes, it's an awkward spot because they've been awful. I tweeted about this. What we watched from South Carolina on Thursday and Friday of last week, and that's when their series wrapped up. They played a doubleheader on Friday. Was just awful baseball because, I mean, I tweeted this out. Like they tried to steal a base with runners on first and third and one out in a game where they were tied and got thrown out. And then they missed a cutoff man, which allowed an Auburn guy to get an extra 90 feet. They missed a tag. They hit a guy through a wild pitch. Just sloppy, bad baseball. And then you can't get anybody out the last two games of that series, just giving up just lasers all over the field from that Auburn team. And what coaches never dealt with is now when this thing ends, it's not like, okay, you're in our program, we've got the foundation laid, go to summer ball, and then, come on back and we'll get things ramped up in the fall, and our high school class will come in. He's going to have multiple guys that he thinks are going to be on his team next year walk into his office and go, okay, I need $90,000. Like, I need that now or I'm leaving. And I don't know if he's got it or not. And he never had to do that when he was at LSU. And you're going to have a mad dash of, I mean, Jay Johnson, I know, is flying all over the Southeast, all over the country in the month of June and July, getting guys out of the transfer portal and visiting draftable guys. And it's just it's chaos that Paul Mainieri's never dealt with before. And all the while this is going on, you're working for a guy that didn't hire you. And you've got the worst season in the program's history on your resume. Like, it's just it's an awkward spot. And I'm like Buzzy. I'm pulling for Coach Mainieri as long as LSU's not playing him, and LSU's in town. And I'm sincerely hope he goes 5-25 this year because that'll be good news for LSU. But it's just something he's never dealt with, and it's a whole new world. And a lot of guys in his generation, a lot of guys have had a lot of success like him. Nick Saban, Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, they're not contemporaries as far as age, I don't think, but they're pretty close to Jay Wright. Just like, see ya. Chip Kelly. See ya. And I don't know how he's going to handle it. The other piece to this is I covered Paul Mainieri in 2011, 12, 13, 14. 4 years. And we talked to him after every game at home. And even like random midweek loss or a Sunday series loss where they've won the series and they lose on Sunday, like those happen over a 56-game season. Like you lose games in baseball. He took every loss so hard. Like the demeanor was so different when we'd go in for a loss as opposed to a win. And I just can't imagine that he's internally okay with this. And the part of it that I keep sticking to is like, if he's the same guy he was 10 years ago when I was covering him, 15 years ago when I was covering him, like, I don't think he could deal with it. Like, I think he would just be completely fed up. And the other side of that is if he can handle going 5-25 and it doesn't feel like it used to, does he still have the drive to get it done? I don't know. I haven't talked to Coach once this year. Not once. So I'm just speaking from pure speculation. But I know him okay from covering for 4 years, and he's been on the show a few times and certainly chatted him up in Omaha in 2023 when we were there. And like, I know Coach pretty well. It doesn't feel right. And I don't know what the resolution's going to be, but it's not really anybody's concern in purple and gold down here. The concern for purple and gold is to go to Columbia and beat South Carolina as badly as Auburn did. That's basically the goal here. So we'll see. We got 30 minutes left to go. Come back with us, Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Earlier today, Jay Johnson met with the media, and the media asked him about Cade Anderson and kind of his availability, and Jay Johnson answered saying that Anderson threw his normally scheduled bullpen on Monday, and he's ready to go this weekend. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I'll kind of bring it back up and refresh the topic. I was petrified on Friday night, just petrified, because while I have full confidence in Anthony Ianson handling quote-unquote ace duties, like, Ianson and Anderson are the backbone of this team now. with Cowan as a reliever, like that's the backbone of the team. And if you lose half of that, you are severely compromised. And my outlook for this team in the postseason would be completely different if Cade Anderson were significantly compromised or hurt. So when Jay Johnson comes to the podium on early Saturday morning after that Friday night game that went till 1:15 in the morning, and it's almost 2 o'clock, and we're at the box, and he says that Cade's fine, no issues at all, checked him out, he's good, I'll be very honest with you. Like, I didn't really take that at face value because Jay Johnson has a way of handling injuries, and he intentionally hides some things, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I, as a media member, don't feel like I'm entitled to know who's hurt, and certainly as a fan, I don't feel like I'm entitled to know who's not feeling great. That's up to the medical staff and Jay Johnson and keeping that wherever they want to. I'm completely okay with it. But because of the way that Jay has handled things for 4 years, like when I hear that, I don't really think twice about it. Like, it's just like, okay, well, we'll see. We will see. And I don't think, though he has sometimes hidden some things, I don't think he's going to come out and overtly just lie. So for him to say all good on Friday night, Saturday morning, whatever you want to call it, and then to come out and say he threw his bullpen yesterday, like, I've been lied to about injuries. Les Miles lied about injuries. The one I talk about all the time is P.J. Lonergan, the center on the 2011 team. Jay's like, Les Miles like, he practiced and he'll play in the game, and he didn't even travel to Knoxville. So, like, Les Miles did just lie about it, and that's fine too. Whatever you want to do, I don't care about that. I don't feel entitled as a media member to know exactly how every player on the team is feeling and what the strategy is to handle them if they're not. Now, Paul Maneri on the flip side is always going to tell you exactly what the injury is, what the medical procedure is to help it, what the timetable is, and whether or not he's going to return. Like, he told you everything. He's a walking HIPAA violation. Jay Johnson, not like that. But at this point, I can sit here on Tuesday and feel pretty good about where Cade Anderson is. I'll feel better when I see him out on the mound. Now, I said this yesterday, and I stand by this. Because South Carolina does not have an ace, and you don't have to worry about who they are pitching, their whole pitching staff is a combination of not very good pitchers. I would personally throw the bullpen on Thursday, throw Cade Anderson on Friday, and Anthony Ianson on Saturday. My opinion is you need to win 2 games this weekend. It doesn't matter if you win the first one and the second one, or the second one and the third one, or the first one and the third one, whatever. It doesn't matter. You got to win 2. And so I would keep those guys on rest if it was me. It's not me, and I don't think Jay Johnson is going to do that. Now, I was also asked on Twitter earlier, do you think they'll take it easy on Cade Anderson this weekend? And my answer to that is no. There either is no issue, and he's ready to go out there and pitch full on 115 pitches, go, or there is an issue, and he doesn't need to pitch at all. Because what you can't do is compromise him and go out there and deal with a guy that's injured. If it's a cramp, there's no issue for the cramp from last Friday to this Thursday. He's fine. And if that's really the case, then there is no issue. You don't baby him. You let him go. Now, if it's 19-1, like Florida did to him, and it's the 6th inning and he's thrown 80 pitches and you want to pull him and put DJ Primo out there for the last 3 outs, great. That's awesome. But I expect fully that Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson will pitch Thursday and Friday respectively and will be on their full allotment of pitches. Anderson will go 115, Ianson will go 115. You sincerely hope that your offense does exactly what Florida and Auburn did to this atrocious pitching staff at South Carolina and rolls up 15, 18 runs, and you can sit those guys a little bit earlier. But that's something that unfolds during the game. You're talking about just a plan. The plan is to work it as normal, I'm sure. Now, I would significantly change the plan the next week depending on how things go in Hoover, and Jay Johnson may do that. We did see him limit Paul Skeen's pitch count in Hoover against Arkansas. We've seen that at times. Sometimes you go to Hoover and you got work to do. Like last year, LSU's trying to make sure they get in the tournament. So you're throwing Gage Jump on short rest last year, and you're getting Luke Holman out there last year, and you're making sure that you win some games so you get in the NCAA tournament. This year, you don't have that issue. You potentially don't have that issue as far as seeding goes when you get to Hoover if you take care of your business against South Carolina. Now, you lose 2 out of 3 this weekend, you got to go to Hoover locked and loaded and ready to win some games. But if you win 2 out of 3 or sweep South Carolina, you can change the way you operate a little bit. And I'd probably throw Kate Anderson and Anthony Ianson in the Friday game, the first one you play, throw them each for 55, 60 pitches and tell them to sit down. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But if we're talking about the bridge that we're approaching, which is South Carolina, I would hold them for a day. I don't think Jay's going to do it. You're going to see Kate Anderson on Thursday, Anthony Ianson on Friday. You'll see him for their full allotment, and we'll see where the die fall. It's more so on the backs of the offense to make sure that they handle South Carolina's pitching staff, so you don't really have to worry about overextending pitchers or how much rest they're on. You just get them out of the game because the offense did their job. But that is something that we'll find out in about 55 hours from right now, coming up from Columbia. Take a time out, come back and close it out. It's a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com is the website. You know what a captive program is? You might have an idea if you're a CFO, a risk manager, or business owner. But if you pay a significant amount for insurance annually and you're just looking for an alternative solution that may help, the Highland Insurance Group is not a magic bullet. They're not just going to come in and knock 20% off of your premium annually. But there are creative solutions, and captives is one. I've spent 7 years in insurance, dealt with some captives towards the end of my career there, and I always felt like captives were the future of insurance, especially for those that pay a significant amount. If you may fit and you're not really sure what the next step might be, Highland Insurance Group can help you. They deal in captives every single day. So contact Jonathan Carver and his team. Say, hey, look, this is our situation. Can you talk to us about a captive? And he'd be happy to sit down with you and discuss how that might look for you and your business. It's the Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online at highlandig.com. They're based here in Baton Rouge, can help you out wherever you are in the state of Louisiana. So no matter where you're listening to me, you can still contact them. They can always be available to help you. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online, highlandig.com.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life, so why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Join us on Friday, May 23rd at the South Stadium Club in Tiger Stadium for delicious food, drinks, and the ultimate allocated 100-bottle bourbon raffle hosted by Ducks Unlimited. Plus, participate in live and silent auctions and raffles for rare bottles. Sign up at 1045ESPN.com for a chance to win $100 of packs of raffle tickets and the grand prize $500 raffle pack. For tickets and more information, visit dubourbonraffle.com.
Just found a rather disturbing tweet on my timeline from the folks over at WAFB across the street.
Yeah?
This is the headline. I'll just read it straightforward.
Okay.
Police find naked man in Lowe's display shed with Vaseline and phone.
Oh.
That's not great.
Yeah, that's not good.
Sometimes the news is impressive. I can remember.
That sounds like a Florida story, but I guess Louisiana can have stuff. We have stuff like that too. Yeah.
Plenty of that. Some days the news is more interesting than others, I guess, is the point of that story. If you'd like to read more about that, you can head over to WFB.com and check it out. We'll probably leave it right there. A lot to do on tomorrow's show. Koki Riley is traveling tomorrow to Columbia, so we'll talk to him on Friday from Columbia, South Carolina. But we have I'm going to do 2 more SEC baseball power rankings. I don't think I could do one regional week.
Yeah, you could.
I think it would be a waste of time to do one after regional week.
I would agree.
Because you would have a lot of teams that would be out. But I think I can do 2. I can do 3 more. Tomorrow, SC tournament week, and then before the regionals start. And that'll probably be it. And then after that, I'll go back and juxtapose that with the first list and see how we did. I can already tell there are going to be some significant issues. Auburn's going to be an issue for me. A&M's going to be a huge issue for me. Florida was going to be a huge issue, not so much anymore. But I don't know what the first one said, so I'll go back and check that out. But that's a lot to do on tomorrow's show, so looking forward to doing all of that. We got one thing to do on this show, and that's play Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Alrighty, first one here. The Pit. Take it or leave it.
The Pit, I'm going to take it.
I'll take it.
My wife and I finished it. First season of The Pit. For those unfamiliar, it's about the emergency room in Pittsburgh. They go through one shift. Every show in the first season is an hour. And it's a triage and emergency room setting. And it's very good. My wife is in healthcare, so she was fascinated by the entire thing. I thought it was good as well.
Did she watch it and say, "Oh, that's not how it actually works"? Or
there were a couple of things she had some issues with. She spent time as a NICU nurse and was actually the head nurse in the NICU for a little bit there. So she's got some experience on all of that. But I think the overwhelming response from the healthcare community has been that it's the most realistic healthcare show ever. Like, you've got your ERs and all that kind of stuff. But what's the one about the hospital?
Grey's
all the
Anatomy?
girls? Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, that one's not realistic.
Yeah, I've never seen it. But this one apparently was. And I can tell you this, and we talked about this, I think, when we started watching it, but now we've seen it. We've seen the season finale. Very good. There's a season 2 coming that we'll certainly watch. I'm not cut out for very many jobs. The head ER doctor, where someone's on death's door every 45 seconds while they walk in there, that's not going to be for me.
Yeah.
Just not a good spot for me to be.
We've learned that there's not a whole lot in your toolbox there, Hunt.
It was an amazing accomplishment. I changed 2 light bulbs yesterday.
Yes.
No, only changed 1. Only changed 1 light bulb yesterday. That was a big undertaking at my house.
All right, next one. Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley hosted a team dinner last week in Philadelphia leading up to the Truist Championship. And 2 of those in attendance, Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka, they both were invited and attended. Bryson and Brooksy on the Ryder Cup team. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it because I don't need Koepka. I don't think he's any good.
Yeah.
So the U.S. Ryder Cup team's in trouble. It looks like a bad team. And so for that reason, I probably need Bryson. I will hold my nose and take him on the team. I don't know who wants to play with him. You're going to have to find somebody that'll do that, but I need all the good players I can get, considering that
You do.
Spieth's pretty mediocre at this point. Cantley's not playing worth a flip. Like some of your stalwarts, JT's been better, but you don't have Dustin Johnson anymore. I don't really want Brooks anymore. It's just you got guys that could potentially make the team that aren't very good. It's just it's a tough scene, so I'll take Bryson. I don't need Brooks.
All right, next one here. A little bit of sad news, Hunt. Morris the alligator, most famous for his role in Happy Gilmore, passed away. Was at least 80 years old. They don't know exactly how old, but he could be even 90 or 100 apparently. But the Everglades Open will never be the same. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. What about the Waterbury Open?
Well, yeah, but he wasn't at. Was he at? I thought he was just.
Was it the Tour Championship?
No, it was the Everglades. It was the tournament in Florida.
Oh, okay.
with his caddy was bathing in the pond.
That's right.
Yeah.
Obviously it's tough for Morris. I find it hard to believe you can train an alligator for movie acting.
Apparently you can.
And now we don't have to. We can just CGI him in that bad boy and get on to moving. But, that's an iconic. It's got to be the most famous alligator in movie history, right?
I think so, yeah, probably.
I don't know of any others that had significant roles. So
hard to come up with on the top of
one got cooked by Billy. What's the linebacker? Adam Sandler.
Oh, Waterboy.
Waterboy's mom.
Yeah, that's true.
When Vicky Valancourt came over. But that's really all I can think of. All right, that's it for Tuesday edition. You missed any? Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Hunt Palmer Show, where you can find us. Matt's going to drive you home next one after further review. Have a great Tuesday evening. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, for a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed